Hello everyone, welcome back. It's that time once again here where we are going to be taking a look at the stars above and the tarot below to take a look and see how we might be able to best leverage this energy of May 5th, 2023, the full moon / lunar eclipse. My name is Gulvig. Thank you for joining me here at Be the Whole You. So, first off, I just want to say that if this full moon is making you feel emotional, anxious, ungrounded, hard to focus, maybe even physically tired, one, you're not alone, and it's going to be okay. And if that's not your experience, and probably because your particular birth chart maybe resonates differently with this alignment, and you're feeling great and feeling focused and energized, then hold that and high five. Like, good for you. Keep the party going. So this full moon is in Scorpio at 14 degrees, and it's right across from the sun that is at 14 degrees in Taurus. And one of the reasons why I opened up with, like, if you're feeling anxious, ungrounded, if you're, not having a hard time focusing, why I opened up with that is because this particular full moon is a very potent doorway for change. And this has been a doorway that has been opening for incrementally for some time. We have a lot of energy here, as we're going to see, that is associated with Taurus. And so for example, Uranus is 18 degrees at Taurus. We have the North Node that is at 3 degrees in Taurus. Mercury, which is in retrograde, is 8 degrees in Taurus, and this is all conjunct the Sun that is also in Taurus at 14 degrees. So with Uranus being in Taurus, Uranus is a planet of change. And then we have Mercury that is in retrograde, and the North Node in Taurus, and the North Node is what it is that we're moving towards. So it's in our birth chart, it's considered like associated with like your purpose or what your life's work is going to be. In this particular case, because we have all of these energies in the same sign, and Taurus is an energy that's all about like the physicality of life. So it's about wealth, health, beauty. It's associated with structure. And so our structures and the way that we relate to our health, to our finances, to our livelihood, all of these things are shifting. They're all changing. And that can be rather uncomfortable. It literally uproots us, because the aspect that's changing here is associated with the sign, with Taurus, that affects our physical, practical daily lives. So if we might find ourselves during this full moon in this liminal space where we know things are changing, but we may not have a clear idea yet of what that change will look like or exactly how it's going to unfold. So this liminal space where we're not really where we were before, like we have already made changes. We probably feel very different than we did 6 months ago, but we don't know exactly what comes up yet. So it's like when you're like skipping from one stepping stone to another. Maybe you're going over like a shallow creek or something, and you're jumping from one stepping stone to another. There's that place where intermittently we're not on one stone or the other. And that's where this full moon can leave us feeling that we're just kind of in limbo. So rest assured, you will land, and I do believe that most of us will get where we're going, because if you're watching things like this, you're probably paying attention. You're probably somebody who values self-awareness, and so you're listening, and you will get to where you need to go. And at the same time, this isn't the best time to make decisions. Mercury is still in retrograde. I don't know about you, but this particular retrograde has been pretty gnarly, and it's going to stay in retrograde until May 14th. So I would wait until, really, if you can wait to make big decisions or make big purchases, like if until the new moon on the 19th, that would be ideal. But at least wait until like the 17th, because on the 17th, Jupiter goes in to Taurus. And also then by the 16th, we'll start to feel a little bit more grounded. We're going to still, once this energy has kind of settled a bit, by the next new moon, we're going to feel a little bit more focused. We're going to feel a little bit more clear. And so I would wait to buy the airline tickets until Mercury comes out of retrograde. If there are contracts that need to be signed, leases that need to be signed, if you're going to make a big purchase or you're planning on moving, if at all you can wait until the 19th to finalize those plans, it would probably be a good idea. If not, just make sure that you're coming from a place where you're not feeling emotionally impulsive, because that is one of the things that can happen with this Scorpio full moon. Scorpio is associated with the subconscious, it's associated with emotions, it's deep, deep stuff. So depending on what is being excavated, like I look at the full moon in this particular case, you know how the full moon pulls at the tides of the ocean. I feel like with Scorpio, because it's associated with our subconscious, the full moon is like pulling the tide up with of our subconscious. So the deep ocean of emotion is being pulled up by this full moon so that we can excavate it and see what is useful, what is true, and what might be some assumptions, beliefs, perspectives, or even just kind of maybe strange limitations that we might put on ourselves that really are just our own doing. So some places where we might see the most change in relationship to this full moon is in our family, our career, our home, and those we associate with. And as well as our health too, because of this Taurus energy. Now, Jupiter goes into Taurus on May 17th, and I will be talking more about that in the new moon video that I'm going to make in a couple weeks. And the new moon is going to be on the 19th. And Jupiter goes into Taurus on the 17th. It's going to stay there for a little over a year. And that's a big deal. So that's also like a big shift that's going to be happening, that's going to continue this evolution of big change that, quite frankly, we've been surfing this wave of change since 2020. And it's just been kind of on this like roller coaster. Thankfully, I feel at least that the huge upheaval of that initial change from a few years ago is now kind of mellowing out a little bit to where it's a little bit more sustainable. Also on May 11th, the moon and Pluto, which is in retrograde, will be at 0 degrees in Capricorn, and it will be opposite Mars, and it will so this on May 11th is also a really big deal that's going to continue this energy of change at this full moon in Scorpio, and this lunar eclipse being the doorway is going to continue this. And Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. Pluto doesn't really care if it has to wipe the slate clean in order to rebuild. And Capricorn is it's a sign that's very grounded, and it's about achieving one's goals. And 0 is the cosmic egg. So here we have a very earthy kind of energy, Taurus, that the full moon is associated with. Scorpio holds a lot of the energy of Pluto. It's the same kind of themes of death and rebirth. And then on May 11th, we have the moon and Pluto that are basically walking together in Capricorn, which is also a very earthy kind of sign, which will also plant the seeds of new beginnings that are rooted in practical, tangible change of our everyday life. And Pluto is in retrograde. So Pluto is also helping with with this emotional excavation that is happening right now, where like the deep undercurrents of that subconscious ocean are being brought to the surface, so that we can take a look and see what shadows are having a ninja-like effect on our life and perhaps creating self-sabotage, or they are attracting relationships or certain patterns in our life that just really aren't helpful. And so that we can see that and really see it for what it is, see its truth. And we have the opportunity right now, instead of projecting it out and pretending like we don't have any influence over it and that it's other people's problems, we can take a look at it and say, with things being as they are, what is the most loving thing I can do to honor myself? That right there is the crux of all of this energy for the next couple weeks. With things being as they are, what is the most loving thing I can do to honor myself? This doesn't mean what is the most comfortable thing I can do for myself, because sometimes the most loving thing we can do for ourselves is doing the hard thing. Sometimes the most loving thing that we can do for ourselves is to allow ourselves to honor whatever emotions that we're having, especially actually if they're uncomfortable, so that they can be allowed to flow and go. Sometimes the most loving thing that we can do for ourselves is to reach out and ask for assistance. So the most loving thing, we usually think of love as being comfortable, but sometimes the most loving thing is doing the hard thing. And the reason why I bring this up is Pluto is not the most comfortable energy, and neither is Scorpio. So there is probably going to be, for a lot of us, and maybe some hard decisions that we need to make, or some difficult things that we might end up seeing that we're not completely comfortable with. There might be parts of ourselves that maybe induce even shame or guilt. And if that's the case, just go back to the question, what is the most loving thing I can do with things as they are? What is the most loving thing I can do to love and honor myself? If there is shame or guilt around it, chances are that what would be helpful is a loving and understanding reflection, as in like a very honest friend or a really good therapist, to help us through that. Because this excavation, just like building a house, you have to prep the land, right? There's some sort of excavation that happens. That's what's happening right now. And the better we can lay the foundation, the more stable and sustainable our structures will be for the future. So this work right now isn't just about zooming through it or, just kind of like waiting it out and letting it to pass. There's a real opportunity here to lay the foundation for tangible, effective, and long-term change. And it's going to probably require from a lot of us some courage, some truth, and maybe doing some things that are a little bit hard. So I wish that I could have like some more rosy kind of message, but this is real talk, I think. And when I took a look at this, I really kind of sat with it, and I was like, okay, well, I could say like, there's no bad alignments, and it isn't a bad alignment. It's just not the most comfortable one. And so just stay calm, carry on, and love yourself. So with that being said, I'm really interested to see what the tarot is going to say about this one. I have absolutely no clue what might come from this inquiry. So let's take a look. So join me in setting the intention that whatever part of this tarot reading that specifically relates to your situations that you're looking at in your life, or that any challenges that you might be experiencing, just set the intention with me that the parts of this reading that are most pertinent to you will just be highlighted. That those parts will really get your attention, or you'll just like know that, oh yeah, that part's for me. All right. How Lunar Eclipse and Full Moon in Scorpio, May 5th, 2023. Let's serve our best and highest good. Folks, there's good news. There's good news. All right, so the Princess of Cups is the very first card that comes up. This is a cup that it's about imagination, it's about the possibilities, and it's about expecting the unexpected, almost like expecting surprises. But it's not reversed. So I would say that these are most likely going to be good possibilities. Now, the one thing that I will say though about that though is that the possibilities, the intuition that is coming up to the surface, that this is acting as a flotation device, a tool, as well as the very thing that we need to lean into in order to heal what is coming up in the next two cards. And the next two cards, we have the Strength card reversed, which this is about, in this card, we have the Lady in White as your higher divine self, and then the tiger or the lion represents the primal self, so the ego. When it's reversed, it is stating that there is a tendency at this time to be coming from ego. So to be coming from fear, to like anxiety over making ends meet. That's something that's coming up, like financial stuff. That our sense of self is definitely changing. That is one thing that is definitely changing, is our identities and how we relate to ourselves and the world around us is definitely changing. So when that happens, it is like an egoic death. And because there is a part of us that's being asked to be allowed to be upgraded, but in order for it to be upgraded, we have to let go of who or what we thought we were. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And that's definitely Scorpio realm kind of work. And how we identify ourselves and how we're asking our divine, if we can lean into our intuition and connect to the part of ourself, the Lady in White here, that's your divine highest self, the part of you that already has all the answers. If we can lean into that, then we can overcome the parts of ourselves that identify us as being a victim. Oh, ooh, ah. And that's because the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords reversed. I look at this card as being one of the cards, when it's reversed, it actually has a more positive meaning. When it's reversed, the swords in the man's back are ready to just fall out. And this card is associated with betrayal. So there might be parts of us that that identify with past hurts, past disappointments, past pains, that then have become an intricate part of our identity, such as I can't trust others, such as no matter what I do, it's never going to be enough. Such as I have to work really hard to earn people's validation, appreciation, love. These are the kind of things that are really common wounds that we carry, that we're being asked to sink into our higher knowing and our intuition, as well as our spirit guides. It's another thing that's coming through with this card, is that there's also spirit guides that a lot of us have, whether or not you know what their names are. And if you don't know who your spirit guides are, you can just ask for your divine highest self. That is the part of you that it's innately a part of you. So, and it's the part of you that already has all of the answers. Also, you can call upon, if it's part of your spiritual belief system, angels or ancestors who be of goodwill, All of these folks are just there waiting. Oh, the other thing. Um, Also, animals. Animal spirit guides are one of the most common guides that actually come up in my sessions for folks. And so, like, if you've had animals that have crossed over, whether or not they're recent or they're from childhood, those are also some really wonderful guides. And I personally think that especially animals that have been our that we've been guardians for, our pets, I look at them as being really effective joy guides. So if joy is is something that is hard to find right now, those would also be really good guides to call upon. And all you have to do to call upon them is literally just ask. Like, you know, yeah, if I were to call on my joy guide, I talk to my cats that passed away in the last year. I talk to them all the time. All you have to do is just ask. So, intuition, imagination, higher divine self, spirit guides are all here to allow the new perspective, the surprise, the aha moment of, oh, that's what's been holding me back. We might have some aha moments around like, oh, that experience that I had, that is what has caused this belief, or that's why I do what I do. We'll have some aha moments on exactly what it is that we need to do or know to heal. And then that, my friends, so that's the work. Now here is the opportunity, or that's the opportunity, and now here is that could happen as a result if we're willing to put in. Like, I know that in our new moon reading a couple weeks ago, we talked about putting in this much work and getting this much out of it. It's kind of similar here, where we do this. Oh, the star card. The star card just feels like salve to my soul. It comes up in readings when a person has been through like the dark night of the soul. They feel like they're in this long dark tunnel, and then the star card comes up and says, "There's light at the end of the tunnel. You're almost there. You're almost there. Just keep going." New hope, renewal, new beginnings, a freshness, a restart. Ten of Cups, my friends, one of the best cards in the deck. This is about harmony. It's about work-life balance. It's about health. It's about healthy relationships. It's about reciprocal love and appreciation and reciprocal relationships in general. It's about being nurtured and nurturing. It's all the good things. And Temperance comes up and says, and then we will also have this new awareness from the work that we're doing right now with the Scorpio and Pluto and the Taurus energy, of the self-reflection, the healing, the letting go of how we identify with our past. Your past does not define you. Your past does not define you. Your emotions do not define you. Your the wounds, the traumas, they don't define you. You are something far greater than any of your human experiences. You are a spirit having a human experience. What you are completely defies anything that we could define in human terms. So when we lean into that, and we free ourselves of the shackles of our past, and we step into the beauty of this new harmonious future, we will do so because we have become our own emotional alchemists. That's really what the Temperance card is about. It's about alchemy. We have the Archangel Gabriel here, who is a archangel that is associated with the emotional realm. He's associated with water. And as we can see, and also in this card, we say Gabriel, I think, because most of the angels are considered male, but in this card, they are androgynous. So we see Gabriel as having both polarities, both male and female gender. We have the mixing of the opposites, from the two cups, the positive pole and the negative pole, the light and the shadow. And then what comes out as a result of that is something brand new. Everything's been integrated with temperance. We found the neutral ground, and between the positive pole and the negative pole. And then from that acceptance, we then are able to just have all the good things. So, it's just really, this is really a continuation from a lot of this is a continuation from our new moon reading, where it was like the work might feel really tough. It might feel really heavy. It might even be a little nerve-wracking when we don't know what's coming next in our tangible everyday world, with all the uncertainty that is around a lot of us right now. And if we do the work of the healing and let go of the past, this much work gets this much reward. So it's a good investment of energy to slow down. We're going to be asked in the next couple weeks by the universe to do less, to think less, to feel more, to nurture ourselves, to take care of ourselves. We might have to put more boundaries for our time in the next couple weeks for self-care and nurturing. We may have to delegate some different responsibilities. It's really, really important right now to take time to really nurture ourselves, to reach out for help where we need it, and to integrate those parts of ourselves that feels fragmented, that feels still like they're a victim. And that's not to dismiss any kind of past traumas that we had. For most of us, there are real traumas back there, and it's not to negate that. And at the same time, in order to move on, we empower ourselves by basically saying, I will not stay that situation's victim anymore. I'm freeing myself. And I always look at the Ten of Swords with the swords in the back. I sometimes look at those as like tethers or cords from the past that are holding that person in place. And it's like in the movie The Matrix, where they had all the plugs. It's like that. And we get to unplug. We get to unplug from the past. We get to unplug from the traumas. We get to unplug in general. So, unplug. And that might mean even like an internet detox. Woo, right? A technology detox. So, take exquisite care of yourself and love on yourself, honor yourself. And in a couple weeks, we're going to take a look and see where we're going. The change is going to continue. The energy of change is going to continue. I guarantee that. But as we move forward in the next few months, we're going to start seeing, I think, more results from a lot of the hard work that we've put in. So keep it up. You guys are doing a great job.